Ego just want to get it done faster, because if you look at their composition so far, it's not really DPS oriented. It's a lot more burst damage heavy. So if they can't really secure the kill fast, it's gonna be a bit more of a disadvantage for them. So EVOS, I think they're gonna try and limit some more crowd control, some more utility, because I feel like this Hellcurt pick, the damage is a big problem, but the darkness is what really makes it very difficult to adapt in the middle of a team fight.
Yeah, I agree. And Gord is just going to be a standing duck in the back line. And there's a little bit of emphasis, I think, from EVOS and Alter Ego. Alter Ego taking away Diggy as well as Florin. These are two heroes that can protect the Bruno in lane, help him snowball, and that's exactly what Alter Ego are trying to prevent. With the Cho takeaway, it still goes for the same function. What do you think about this so far?
I mean, I'm looking at it right now, Alter Ego, I don't know where this export is going. I honestly feel like it should just go to the XP lane here. It's a good matchup to prevent the Terizla, like you said, and against anyone, really, you're okay. Thing is, what's risky is the fact that EVOS Legends can just pick up something like an Esmeralda in that XP lane to really bully this X-Borg. We saw that from BTR, I believe Cerezo picked up the Esmeralda to bully the X-Borg. And just like that, the Akai gets picked up and it's still Flex. We don't know if it's going to go to the jungle, roam, or XP lane at this point, right? We've seen Fluffy play in the XP, and this might be just a deny pick over. They do not want Fluffy to get a disengaged tool as strong as that heavy spin.
Well, if Alter Ego wants to use the Akai, I think it's more going to be for a bit more of an aggressive playstyle, right? Using the heavy spin to try and lock someone down, or maybe even spread everyone apart so that the X-Borg, the Brody, can just go in aggressively. But here we go. This is a great pick against Alter Ego due to the lack of DPS. Brody and Valentina are going to find it very difficult to deal with a Uranus, and on top of that, an Arlott as well that can be such a problem if they're trying to dive into the back line.
So this is Arlott Roam that we're seeing right now.
I think so.
It should be, right? Uranus EXP, Fredrin jungle, Bruno Gold, Gord mid lane. So now, Alter Ego, they completely see what's ahead of them in terms of the lanes. And luckily, like you mentioned, Akai is still Flex. So in which scenario do you think would be best for Alter Ego?
The Akai? I'm quite confused myself where to go to place these members. I would honestly think right now, put the Akai in the jungle, get that prio around neutral objectives, and just secure something like a Kaja or even a Valir. Okay, I was expecting maybe a bit more emphasis on pickoff against a team fight composition, but they say, bring it on. We'll try to poke and disengage with an Akai plus a Searing Torrent from Valir.
Valir. What do you think about this pick? Because I don't think that it's perfect against the composition coming in from EVOS, just because there are a lot of ways for them to literally walk around Valir.
And therefore, the EVOS has a Uranus that can just tank up these fireballs. I don't know if Alter Ego has enough damage to match up to a Bruno, a Gord, right? Especially with the true damage coming in. Who is going to be the front line that will tank all of this up? I thought they were going to go and dive in, but with that Valir, are they trying to use it as follow-up? I'm not quite sure. I don't really see the synergy right here, but Alter Ego, man, you never know what they're up to. They might have been cooking.
Well, I mean, technically, one of the best things about Valir is that he's not reliant on level 4. So maybe they're looking for an early rush to pressure the Bruno in the gold lane?
And on top of that, it's not just the pressure to Bruno, but also the pressure to Fredrin. He's not going to get close to anyone. Heavy spin and Searing Torrent.
Let's hope it works out as we welcome you into the land of dawn, ladies and gentlemen, as both of these teams are struggling to find a victory in order to make it into the playoffs. We would like to remind you, we are at week 6, meaning there are 2 weeks left for them to be able to get that opportunity. And face value, let's do a little bit of spell check and emblem checks first and foremost.
Well, if you look at the emblems for Rossi, it's more of a defensive situation, but Von Strong getting chilled. They just chunked down massively. And you can see that the mid lane is left by the mid laners. They're off doing their own things. Udil, though, goes with the weapon mastery, so he's still attempting to be a solid source of damage, and he's going to need it if he's going to rely on this composition. You're just finding this to be a bit more of a trend, though, right? With the Novaria being meta, having the mage as a roamer ensures that you can go for a fighter somewhere else. But look at this, Taz gets low.
Aggressive maneuvers already early from Alter Ego. Able to get a Small XP lead on Sully Boy, but I think Taz can just pick himself back up with a few good clears. Again on this Fredrin, super sustainable.
You know, one of the things that I've noticed is a trend from mages in general. They opted earlier on, I think post-patch, for Lethal Ignition, but a lot has shifted to Impure Rage. Question is why?
Well, Lethal Ignition really works well if you have synergy in the kit for it. If you're playing Valir, for instance, it's going to be a bit rare for you to be able to get so much damage, so many procs on that Lethal Ignition, but Pi, alone against 3 people.
Suffering, but Woodill's here to back him up. Only loses the Faraga armor and a bit more HP, but what does this mean? EVOS Legends has much more prio for the neutral objective department. Remember though, a lot of displacements from Sully Boy and Rossi. Sully Boy forced back, Fluffy dealing a good chunk of damage. Oh, up top, solo kill! Nito! Now it's getting the heavy spin from Sully Boy to look for an opening around this turtle. A good taunt to lock Udil down, forcing a flicker around as Fluffy is still in the back now. It's going to be a final slash, and Fluffy with one good maneuver able to get a kill onto Sully Boy, and that means it is a free turtle for EVOS Legends.
So let's recap a little bit, right? Sully Boy gets taken down. EVOS Legends lose Brands in the top lane, but they get a turtle in response. But wait a minute.
Still want more. Taz didn't use the retry earlier for the turtle. It's a retry battle. Sully Boy uses the retry a bit too soon, and he gets punished for it. Taz, calm, collected, ice cold.
Now who's basically holding the game at this point?
I think it is EVOS for sure. If you look at Alter Ego, Valentina and Brody, this is a comp you expect to do so much better in the early game. Oh, look at that. Only 2 of us, Mirko, in the talent predictions for EVOS, and they're doing pretty well right now. And Alter Ego, man, they gotta try and find some ways to actually come out on top here.
Queen Momo-chan there, #1 in the talent prediction ranking. She did vote Alter Ego, so I mean, we'll see. Will that accuracy drop or will it increase? But back into the game, I do believe that Alter Ego are playing this intelligently, right? They understand how Bruno's kit works. He needs to snowball. He needs to have a little bit more pressure, and that's exactly how Brody also plays. And the fact that Nino was able to get a kill over Brands, and the fact that they weren't able to get at least a little bit of that gold shield in that top lane, I feel like EVOS Legends are a little bit behind in that particular sense.
I think that's an argument to be made there for sure.
So
but
what?
Whoa.
Might be a solo kill. Pi forced to flicker out. Bright didn't even use the Mystic Gush, so was that 1v1? Just trying to cut the waves, and now Udil sent to do a little bit of recovery down below. Doing the dirty work as Rossi tries to zone EVOS Legends away. And as you can see, full turret goal and even a chunk of damage on that turret up top.
Well, on that point, man, for EVOS Legends, I feel like they have a good gold lead right now, and even if Brands just falls behind right here, later on, he'll have a lot more space to maneuver when he has to output that damage, because Alter Ego are the ones that have to get closer, and relying on a Brody, they'll be able to poke and burst someone down, but Brody will also be very susceptible to getting jumped on by Vanstrong, getting stunned up by Taz and Krite as well. Overall, I feel like the mid game will be difficult for them unless they can make this a very skirmish-heavy game instead of a big team fight-heavy game.
Or combo heavy, combo reliant, right? Because sure, there's not enough DPS maybe, but there's a lot of burst, not just from the Brody, but also from the X-Borg. But you can see here, Turtle reset it. What went down there?
Taz, I mean, brilliant positioning and brilliant, turtle dance from him, because he actually brought the turtle right to the edge. So when Sully Boy just jumped in with a heavy spin, he didn't take the right amount of aggro, and he actually brought the turtle out. So it was a reset, and now without a heavy spin, EVOS Legends, they're gonna go in. Mystic Gush dealing a lot of damage, and the final slash brings them back. Rossi gets taken out. Pi not able to dish out enough damage. Another Mystic Gush, but Taz will be able to just sustain back up onto the turtle with the Fredrin passive. A big W for the Tigers.
100% objective take from EVOS Legends as well. I felt like they played that brilliantly. The fact that Vanstrong was able to combo his final slash into the ultimate coming in from Krite. The perfect way to take someone down and get an advantage over these team fights around the turtle.
That was a relatively simple fight for EVOS Legends as well, because Alter Ego, they used the bulk of the resources for the play earlier. The heavy spin no longer available. They're just relying on a select few ultimates, and that is just not enough. And look at Krite!
Mr. Gosh, oh my god, flickers out to safety. Rossi saves him a bit as well there with a few fireballs and a searing torrent to stun Krite. My god, the kill pressure from Krite.
Well, Gord, that's a lot of burst damage from so far away. That is one of the main strengths of this Gord pick. And keep in mind, the longer the game goes, there's gonna be true damage that Alter Ego needs to deal with. But Taz, look at that, already so tanky against 3 members.
He is. He's a walking platform at this point, right? Not enough damage to take him down, but Nino earlier on was able to secure that Malefic Roar finally. Do you think that with this pickup, Alter Ego in these team fights might have a little bit of more advantage compared to EVOS?
They'll have a bit more burst damage to play around with, but the same problem persists. If Taz and Fluffy walk up to the front, who is exactly gonna be the threat to try and burst them down? You saw Taz survive against 3 members, that's a Fredrin. The Uranus in the hands of Fluffy will theoretically be able to tank even more damage, and that means that Alter Ego, they can't really contest where EVOS Legends wants to go. If EVOS wants to push them away, further from an objective, from a buff, they can do so whenever they want.
Van Strong with a vengeance. Already a heavy spin baited out from Sully Boy. Gets a pin down onto Fluffy, but he's able to just dash out of that. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. Even Van Strong can sustain back up with a vengeance onto those minions. Pops the regen. And that's a small W. Meanwhile, up top, we do see there is a wave getting shoved in, but not much that Alter Ego can do with that wave.
So 1,700 gold lead for EVOS right now as Fluffy is looking to get punished, pressured. His pride just really stroked here by Pi, as a lot of people have started to compare both of these EXP laners as really heavy playmaking, but let's see who is able to play make better.
Final slash, we get Rossi back, but now, he gets caught in the Mystic Gush. Sully Boy loses out the retreat battle to Taz. Torn apart memory, taking Taz out. Nino positioning really well. Meanwhile, Braz with a flicker forward. Gets 1 ball onto Pi, picking up a double kill. That's a brace. He's looking for a hat trick as Fluffy tries to dive in deep. Nino gets a good stun. Brands, a few good shots here, over. But the kills will be secured by Van Strong. Udil, a bit too overextended. Brands cannot get the final hits though. Still, a big win for the Tigers, who just pounced at the sight of their prey.
You can basically say that that was a 5 versus 1 trade, right? They were able to take 4 members on the side of Alter Ego down. They were able to secure the neutral objective, and all Alter Ego was able to do was take down Taz. And in this particular event, you can even say that their strategy, Alter Ego's strategy that they really wanted to utilize from that early game to pressure EVOS Legends, is starting to not work.
It really isn't working at all. And for EVOS Legends, they're winning, but they gotta be a bit more careful on their wave management, because you saw that the bottom turret was actually taken by the minions, even though in theory, Alter Ego doesn't really have the same kind of control over the waves. They're stuck on damage, damage control right here, trying to just stave off the aggression. They have to try and find a way to get to the back line instead of using the heavy spin so early in the fights. It's becoming a bit too predictable for EVOS Legends to deal with.
So what are their options, right? Sally Boy is an option, but it's going to be predictable. So what else do they have in their kit? Do they rely on Odile, perhaps?
Whichever ultimate that Udil takes, I think can make the fights a bit more dynamic, a bit different. So far, he's been going with the Mystic Gush, but maybe a final slash or something of that nature will be able to set his team up for success. We'll just have to see, as Sally Boy is just not having a good time at all, man. His jungle just completely invaded.
Can't even go for this orange buff yet. They have to go and stay in the mid lane. Wow, 2-man stun all the way from the back. And the glowing wand is already dealing a lot. EVOS Legends have what it takes to melt down any of the frontliners, whether it be Sally Boy or Pi. Even with the Faraga armor, it really hasn't worked out for Alter Ego with this lineup.
And to make things worse, did I just see BOD for Bronze?
Yep.
Oof, that's a big amount of damage, man. Earlier, 2 or 3 hits is enough to burst down.
Oh!
And the squishy members, now Pi even.
3 hits and the Faraga armor disappears. You can't even call it armor. Oh, Sully Boy. Not what you want to see. Dashes and connects onto no one. Rossi now knocked up, forced to flicker out. Sully Boy now going to be chunked out. Heavy spin defensively. Branch just eats him up. The panda, just like in real life, going extinct.
Going extinct.
Let's hope not, but wait a minute.
Oh my God, one more shot. That's a brace again from Brands. Collecting goals at this point. Now it's Pi with a Faraga armor. Last Insanity not doing anything. Mystic Gush and the final slash brings them back. One good hit from Brands. Torn apart memory coming down. Brands able to stay away. Some body blocks here from the rest of EVOS Legends. Brands looking to go to siege down this base turret.
My guy, what's that damage? 4 hits on to the Panda. He can't handle the balls. It's dealing too much damage.
He's got massive damage right here in those balls. And I think there's just no way Alter Ego can withstand. They can't really go for these prolonged team fights. Because even if they do get Brands right here, you just remember that Krite is still doing a lot of true damage with those Mystic Gushes. And Sunny Boy once again tries to zone out, but it's just not enough.
Nino's caught in the front. Mystic Gush takes him out. That's what a big laser beam will do to you. If you stay in place, Alter Ego are lost.
And even if they're dancing around, man, the Mystic Projectile coming in from Krite can just set them up for such a huge number of possibilities. All the turrets are most likely gonna go down right here. And Alter Ego, despite having 4 members, there's not much they can do. This might be the end.
Alter Ego works on momentum, ladies and gentlemen. If they come in from a comeback, that's very rare to see, but look at this.
Heavy Spin defensively used up, hitting 3 members down with Last Insanity, deals no damage. Oh! Maybe with the help of Uno they can do something, but not towards the Mystic Gush. You get the footballer down, but the Surfer is here riding the waves. 2 for 1.
That is a massive shutdown given by Brands though, and without the marksman, without the main DPS tool, seems like Alter Ego will live to see another fight. Looking at the items though, you can see NOD built by Rasi to try and deal with the healing. It's not really working out so well. And if you're wondering what is giving Brands so much damage, he still has one more item to go. It's all that BOD and the Berserker's Fury, man, with the Haas Claws. Unless he gets pinned down and bursted down without hitting, he can just out-sustain the bulk of the damage coming in from Alter Ego.
And in addition to that, this is something that we don't see too often, but look at the boots from the side of EVOS Legends. They're literally running around the skills coming in from Alter Ego, and I think that particular choice for the Gourd is brilliant.
Yeah.
Right? He has no escape skill. He's relying on the Flicker. If the Flicker is gone, because of how slow he is, despite him being on a skateboard, ironically, he's so slow.
Sorry, surfboard.
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 It's running those waves, man.
All right, there are no wheels.
I think Cho is
That
the
makes
skate
sense.
is one of the skateboard usually, depending on the skin. But yeah, it's the rapid boots it's such a smart itemization tool, knowing that for Alter Ego, they don't have crowd control. They're relying completely on slows from the Ice Queen's Wand on Pi and Rasi, and essentially that has been completely negated, at least by the members that needed the most, that will be in the front line trying to make the distance management plays moving back and forth. So for now for EVOS Legends, it's the same thing. They just have to make sure that they don't get caught out, not comboed by a huge Last Insanity, and for the most part, Alter Ego, they're the ones that have to be creative. Do something crazy, man. There's nothing much to lose at this point.
I gotta give a shout out to the Rapid Boots decision to go for the side of EVOS Legends. Sunny Boy again, just jumping forward, now getting completely punished against the Mystic Gush and Brands' damage. A GDS also built up by Brands. With the Rapid Boots, they nullify the Ice Queen Wands, the slows from Alter Ego, and with their damage, they nullify any sort of front to back that Alter Ego are trying to mount up.
Sally Boy looks like he's tilting. He keeps doing the same approach over and over, and he keeps failing, but there aren't any decisions made, adaptations made by Alter Ego to go around them. Meanwhile,
watch out, it's a Psycho Fredrin! The world, he comes in, it's bouncing, Uno still able to get out, Rasi flickers out, Mystic Gush, that's a big laser beam by the Surfer. Krite pushing Alter Ego back.
The timing of that play, man, the conceal, when Alter Ego is expecting EVOS to wait for the Lord, that was completely unexpected. But on that note, on Sully Boy and his aggressive playstyle, that's the only play they have because the slows aren't really working. The only real engage is that heavy spin, and that is why you can see that EVOS are targeting Sully Boy as much as possible. But look at the damage, look at the Lord. EVOS make the play.
They're holding on to it with a mini wave spawning here. They're still able to defend it. Sully Boy, they're trying to bait out the final slash. Oh, it's a 3-man taunt into the Brazer's Wrap, but a torn apart memory connects to the back. Taz still alive. Pi with the Last Insanity takes Taz's immortality out of play, and Udo gets a good splash of damage. The defense for Alter Ego, and we mentioned momentum. Do they have it now?
Oh, that's the question here. I mean, you can even see the item swaps happening as well. Nino going in for the rose gold. Now he picks up an Athena shield because that's his main predator right now from EVOS Legends. From the White Tigers, the main tiger for Nino is Krite. Every time Brands tries to go for damage, Nino can't do the same. Why? Because he keeps getting zoned away from Krite's abilities. There's got to be some way, but not again.
Brands! Half-court shot now, though. The last Insanity locks him down. He buys immortality in time. The Mystic Gush comes down. Brands able to dodge away. Oh, what a save from Vanstrong! The final slash sweeps Nino out. Udil stealing it away as well. Turn about memory. Dodged away from by the winner, Twitchhead. Vanstrong with a vengeance to the back. Now, some fireballs placed down by Rossi, but you cannot stop the Van, who is strong.
Van strong, man, with the saves, with the engage, and now with the play to secure the victory in game number 1. Can they do it?
In the back, Taz going on to Rossi, who's still trying to defend. Pi able to just buy some time, but one mini wave still is there. It's gonna be cleared out by Pi, and he flickers out of the Mystic Gush, baiting Vanstrong in. Boy bringing him back. Vanstrong has the immortality. No members left for Alter Ego. They're trying to replicate what RQ did to them in Season 6. But with the heavy spin, it is inevitable. EVOS Legends takes game 1.
Beautiful. Beautiful performance from EVOS Legends, being able to sustain through that aggression from Alter Ego earlier on. And unfortunately, there wasn't really much for Alter Ego